How's it everyone, Grant here, and welcome back to another camera comparison video. This time I've got the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus up against the Google Pixel 3 XL. And so I ran a poll on this channel's community tab asking which phone would you like to most see the Note 10's cameras compared to, and the Pixel 3 had won. So if you want to influence future content on this channel, go ahead and check out the community tab from time to time and vote. And so before we get into this comparison, I first want to say that each of these phones' cameras come in with some pretty big stereotypes. So as far as the Note's concerned, most people will say that the cameras on the Samsung phones have not been updated in years, and they're really not in the conversation anymore for best smartphone camera. And as far as the Pixel goes, most people will say that it's the king of still photos, but as far as video and audio capture, they're not very good to just downright terrible. So as you watch these photos and videos, don't listen to any of that stuff, decide for yourself. Now I'll come back at the end of the video to let you know what I think and some final thoughts, but let's get on with the rest of this comparison. Hey everyone, so here is a quick rear camera test in the park, and I really like shooting here because it has a lot of distinct greens and blues, so it should show you the color differences between these two cameras. And a lot of people say the Pixel 3 does not have a very good video recording capability, so check that out for yourself. Don't listen to what other people have to say. Observe here and let me know what you think. And so what's good about the Note 10 Plus is with the multiple lenses, if you're shooting in 30 frames per second in either 1080p or 4K, you can actually switch between the lenses. So I can go to my wide angle lens, or I can go all the way into my telephoto lens and back out to my main lens just like that. And of course the Pixel 3 only has that one lens, and so I can only zoom in and out digitally. And what I don't like about the Pixel 3 here is that visual zoom slider bar goes away once you start recording, and so all I can do is pinch to zoom. So I don't technically know how far in I'm zooming in on a subject. And so let's go ahead and test that right now. So if I look at the cell tower there, I can go ahead and do 2x telephoto zoom lens there with the Note 10 Plus, and I'll try to pinch in to zoom approximately the same distance with the Pixel 3 XL there. And then I'll zoom in a little bit further with the Note 10. And so that's about 5 times digital zoom there. And I can try to pinch to zoom in on the Pixel to get about the same distance there. And there you go. I think Pixel maxes out at about 5 times digital zoom. And I can go all the way in on the Note 10 Plus as far as 10 times digitally. And so as I do this, the audio zoom should be kicking in. So on the Note 10, my voice should sound more distant as I zoom in, the farther I zoom away. And so when I come back to the telephoto lens, my voice should be a little bit stronger again, and we'll zoom all the way back out with the Pixel 3 XL. And I can do an autofocus test here on the post real quick. So first with the Note 10 Plus, we'll move away and we'll try to focus in again. And move away, and one more time. We try that again on the Pixel 3. So there you go with the Pixel 3, focused up. One more time. There you go. And last time on the Pixel 3. Okay, and so I can walk down some of these stairs. We'll test out the stabilization on each. So each should be doing a pretty good job here at 1080p at stabilization as we kind of walk around. And we can walk back up the stairs, see how that handles it. But the Pixel usually has some really good stabilization. And I can walk down here. So you let me know what you think about the footage, as well as how these are looking as far as stabilization. Okay everyone, so we're back at 60 frames per second here on each, and like I was saying, the Note cannot switch between lenses. You're stuck at whichever lens you choose to start the video recording with. So this is the main lens on the Note 10 Plus. And on the Pixel 3 XL, it still only has auto frames per second. So the Pixel 3a supports officially 60 frames per second option. But on the 3 XL, 3 and 3 XL, you only have auto frames per second. And Google says if you're shooting in sunlight, you should default out to the 60 frames per second, whereas you move more towards an indoor kind of setting, and it'll go back to 30. And so we'll see, hopefully this is shooting in 60 frames per second on the Pixel, and we can test the digital zoom out here on both cameras. So I can pinch into about 2 times zoom there on the Note, and I'll pinch in to approximately how far, because there's no indicator here on the Pixel 3. And I'll go in a little bit further on the Note. So that's about 5 times there. A little shaky. And I'll zoom in, max zoom there. So that's maybe what, a 3 times zoom or so max on the Pixel 3 and 60 frames per second, while the Note retains its full 10 times digital zoom there, even though it's not quite as clear as it was at 30 frames per second. So zooming back out on the Note and then on the Pixel, we can try stabilization here as I point to the post with the Note 10. There we go. One more time. And I've been finding that the Note seems to be slower at focusing on things. There we go. And here's the Pixel 3 XL locked in. And again, the Pixel 3 seems to have a better, more natural background blur or bokeh effect once it does lock in on that focus point there. And we'll do a bit of a stabilization, so I'll walk down this ramp here. And so it's harder to stabilize at 60 frames per second, obviously, but the Pixel generally has fantastic stabilization at any resolution and frame rate. But let me know what you think here about the footage from each of these phones and some of the stabilization that you're seeing here. Okay, and we're back here at 4K 30 frames per second, and so at 30 frames I've got the option to switch between my lenses on the Note 10 again. So that is wide angle at 4K, and I can go into the telephoto lens there and back out to the main lens just like that. And with the Pixel 3, obviously I still got that one lens, but I see a cat over there. Let's see if we can get it. So if I zoom in digitally here, it's about 5 times there with the Note 10. And let's see how far we can go in with the Pixel. That's the max on the Pixel, but let's see how far close we can get to this cat at 10 times with the Note. There it is. Cruising in the shade and back out. And I can just shoot the post or the cell tower again, just for fun. Just to compare with the other videos, 2x optical there with the Note. Pinch to zoom here with the Pixel. Midway, about 5x there with the Note. All the way on the Pixel 3. Looks like we got another plane there. See if we can get it with the Note here as it passes behind that cell tower. So we'll go all the way in with the Note 10x. Little pixelated, but there it is. And so let's see if we can get back to the main lens on each, all the way zoomed out. And autofocus anyway really quickly here on the post at 4K. And see, the Note still struggles. I have to tap to zoom, and there's no autofocus lock on right now, so not sure really what's going on with that. But let's see, the Pixel 3 has been doing a really good job. There it is. One more time. And one last time. There. And so we can do stabilization again at 4K. I'll walk down the ramp. And so the Pixel usually has really good stabilization, like I was saying, at any resolution. And so let's see how the Note is holding up here. And I can walk more around here. A little bit extended look at the stabilization here and pick up the pace on each. And so there's a 4K sample here in the park on each phone. Hey everyone, so here is some front-facing video being shot at 1080p on both phones. The Note K can shoot at 4K, and I'll show you another clip of that right after this one. But I just want to compare the same resolution on both front-facing cameras. And I'm here in the park, so I'll give you a good idea of how this might perform in some sunlight here as I just pan around to show you how this can handle the sunlight and the changing exposure here. And I'll go ahead and do some walking just to test the stabilization on these front-facing cameras here. And so you let me know what you think about the colors, how this looks, and in general what you think about the stabilization on each of these phones. And here's another quick example of the front-facing cameras. Now the Note is now being shot in 4K. The Pixel 3 XL is still at its max resolution of 1080p, but it is in the wide angle camera mode, as you can see here. So there's some pros and cons to each of these front-facing cameras, and you'll have to decide what's most important to you. Do you value that 4K on the Note, or do you like that wide angle camera on the Pixel 3 XL? And so I'll just again pan around just to give you an idea of how it changes in the sunlight and how the exposure handles all of that. And we'll go ahead and do some walking again, just so you can see the stabilization here on both these front-facing cameras. But which of these cameras do you prefer? Do you like that 4K on a Note, or do you prefer that wide angle advantage that the Pixel 3 has? Alright, so now that you've seen all the photos and videos, it's time to wrap up this video with my thoughts and what I think about these cameras and how they perform. So first, with the front-facing cameras, I give it to the Pixel 3 for both photos and videos. I think it's just a better overall front-facing camera experience. The photos come out with better detail, it has that wide-angle lens, and I just like its performance for photos and videos overall. I think the Note 10 tends to be a little bit softer and over-brightens the photos and videos, and the 4K recording on the front-facing camera doesn't look much sharper than its 1080p recording, at least to my eyes. And so I don't think Samsung's really improved their front-facing camera that much over the years, and overall I'm going to give it to the Pixel 3 for both photos and videos. Now, rear camera, it's a lot closer, and much closer than I thought, based on, again, stereotypes, right? And so for photos from the rear-facing camera, I thought it was much closer than I thought it was going to be after reviewing all the photos. I still give the upper hand to the Pixel 3, I still like its detail more, but the Note 10, and I gotta give credit to Samsung, it seems on the rear-facing camera they've really improved their image processing. And so the photos come out looking a lot better than I recall on previous Samsung phones. Their live focus is much improved. In previous models, it would barely work. It was very hard to work with, and when you were able to get it to apply that blurred out background, it wasn't really applied very well most of the time. And so now it actually looks pretty good. That blurred out background is applied very nicely to the photos, and it's much easier to work with. I can get a portrait shot or live focus shot much easier with the Note 10 than I could with previous phones. So kudos to Samsung for really improving their live focus video there. But overall, I think I still like the photos and even portrait shots coming out of the Pixel more. I think the Pixel is a little bit more consistent. But I think some people will actually like the Note 10 and its live focus more because it's a little more subtle of a background blur. And the Note 10 can the Pixel 3 sometimes can overly do the portrait mode and really blur out the background a bit too much. And so the Note 10, I think, applies a bit more subtle of a background blur, a more natural bokeh. And what's good about the Note 10 is that it's actually more flexible with that live focus mode. You can control the amount of blur pre and post shot, and you even have alternate filters. So if you like flexibility, I think you're gonna like the still shots and working with the Note 10 camera more than the Pixel 3. But as far as consistency and overall quality, I still give the still shots to the Pixel 3, but not by much. And as far as rear-facing video, again, this was a bit of a surprise, maybe in the opposite direction. I thought the Note 10 would have just way outperformed the Pixel 3 for video capture, but I thought the Pixel 3 really held its own. I still think Samsung and the Note 10 tends to brighten or make their videos a little more vibrant. I hate using the word saturated. It's a lot more vibrant looking colors on their videos. And I think a lot of people will like that. And their audio recording is always very good. But surprisingly, the Pixel video recording is actually pretty good. While not as vibrant, it is more realistic, and its audio capture is actually better. I do like the audio coming out of the Pixel 3 more than the Note 10, but not saying Samsung audio is bad. Surprisingly, I think I'll give video quality more to the Note 10 just because I think that's going to be more pleasing to most people, but the audio capture goes to the Pixel 3. So to sum it up, I think overall the Pixel 3 XL did better for both photos and videos from the front and rear facing cameras in general than the Note 10 did. I think Samsung has stepped up its image processing on its still photos, still needs work on the front facing camera, and live focus has been dramatically improved on the Note 10. And so even though I prefer the Pixel 3 XL more as an overall camera, I think folks will still like the Note 10. People who like more vibrant photos and videos, people who like flexibility. So if you want more features, more flexibility out of your camera, I think you're gonna like the Note 10 more. If you just want a straight up point and shoot camera that's gonna capture more natural photos, more consistent photos, I think you're gonna like the Pixel 3. So that's gonna do it for my thoughts here on each of these cameras. Let me know in the comments what you think, and as always, thanks for watching.